Hello everyone, welcome to today's episode of Easy SAP ABAP. In my last video, I showed you guys how to add event handlers for the CL_SALV_ table class. And I mentioned that if we wanted to add a button, a custom button, we had to have a GUI status. Now, when you're running the full screen CL_SALV_ table, you do have to have a GUI status. But if you were using a different class and not in full screen mode, this is a little more complicated class. It is the CL_GUI_ALV_ tree. That's a mouthful. But if you're using this class in a GUI custom container, you're able to add toolbar buttons programmatically in your actual program. So this is transaction SE80. This is a sample program provided by SAP, BCALV_tree_01. So let's just run through a little bit of the code, what it does. So it creates an ALV tree reference, a custom container reference. We're using sflight table. There's an internal table. OK code, save OK. Those are just SYUCOM that we're defining so we can save it so it's not overwritten. We have one screen. It's about as simple as you can get. Let's go ahead and just click on our screen. In our elements, we just have our OK code and this custom container. So if we click on layout, it's going to open up Screen Painter, the graphical screen painter, and we can look at what our actual screen design is like. So you'll see here, all it is a custom container named CContainer1 in this screen. If you're not familiar with Screen Painter, not too much to worry about here. You're just dragging this custom container and putting it on the screen, and then we could do resize or check it, activate these things, all these different things we can do in Screen Painter. It's not a tutorial today on Screen Painter, guys. It's just going to be on this ALV tree. We see that there is flow logic in this program for this screen. There's a process before output, which we have a module designed PBO, and we have a module designated PAI for process after input. We click on our program here, scroll down, and we see at the end of selection event, we're just calling screen 100, which is the screen we just looked at. So we see in our process before output module, we're setting our PF status, which is just our buttons and toolbar things up here. And our title bar, if we look here, we do have a GUI status called main 100 and a GUI title called main title. Now we're saying if our ALV tree is initial, if it's not bound, if it's not been yet assigned, we're going to perform init tree and then a call to flush. So you're not typically going to have to call this too much. I mean, this just basically tells the control framework that, go ahead and send us a front-end update. We've done something to control, an ALV tree being one of those controls. So here's a pop-up to inform if something went wrong. So now our process after input, this is kind of interesting here. We can use our regular OK code, our regular UCOM. So when exit or back or cancel, we just perform exit program. And then when others, we're actually calling this CL GUI CFW, our control foundation class here, dispatch. And what dispatch is going to do is it's going to say process the toolbar functions if it's not a one of these. So we call flush again here at the end of that. Now if we look at init tree, this is the form I just mentioned earlier. We're going to basically do create object, which is our custom container here. We're going to give that custom container name, which we defined in Screen Painter, CContainer1 in this example. We've got our tree control here. We're just going to create the object. We're going to say the selection mode. You can only select one node at the time. Enable item selection. No HTML header. No toolbar. We leave as ABAP false because we do want a toolbar. If something goes wrong, give it a message to the user. Here we're building the hierarchy header. And if you guys have used the CL/SALV tree that we've used before, you've already seen kind of how we build that hierarchy header. This is done through sorting and adding nodes. So if we look at create hierarchy here, we're basically looping our internal table, and we're adding nodes in these methods here with a certain relation and a certain key, and that's going to dictate how they get added. So if we actually just run this tutorial, BC ALV underscore tree underscore 01 demo, I mean not tutorial, we get output like this, where we have the month. Open it up, we have the actual airline carrier, and then open it up, we have more detail about the individual flight in GTSBFLI or S-Flight, whichever table this is, I can't recall. So we have our hierarchy here, we can open it up, close it, and we have all those functionalities. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to copy this program to my own custom program. We're going to call it the same thing, except we're just going to give it a Z prefix. We're going to copy documentation, variants, user interface, screens. I don't think there's any includes, but let's copy includes as well. We'll assign a package of local object because we're not going to be transporting this to any other system. And it's going to take just a second to run. So now we see it's copied to inactive source. So now we've actually copied everything from the previous program that we were looking at. So now this is our own Z class, our Z program, Z report. So we can actually come in here. We can say in our init tree. So again, let's just run it again just to show you guys. Oh, it's inactive. Let's go ahead and activate it. And I like to click on this parent node right here and click activate. That way, any of these subcomponents of it, the DIN Pro, the GUI status, any of that stuff that's inactive, we can go ahead and activate it here in one fell swoop. So now we'll just go ahead and activate all of these objects. So now let's do some modification. So in our init tree method, we create our container, we create our ALV tree, and then down here we're creating hierarchy. So I'll just come down here and I'll say begin of add toolbar functions, and we'll just say end of add toolbar functions. And this is just so I know what I've done here. So if we look at our tree, which is defined as G underscore ALV underscore tree, there is a method called get toolbar object. Get toolbar object returns a reference to the toolbar, which is of type CL underscore GUI underscore toolbar. So we will need a variable to hold this reference. So we'll say data. Let's just call it local reference toolbar. Type ref2 CL underscore GUI underscore ALV underscore GUI ALV. I just saw what that was. Let's see here. Get toolbar object CL GUI toolbar. That's what I thought. GUI underscore and then toolbar. So now we can go ahead and let's just say we want to do this pattern right here. Click on ABAP objects pattern. And now we'll say on our instance G underscore ALV underscore tree, which is of class CL GUI ALV underscore tree. We're going to call method get toolbar object. It's going to go ahead and give us everything we need here. So it only imports one parameter, which is LR underscore toolbar. And it's going to assign the toolbar to this reference that we pass it. So now from our toolbar we can actually say add underscore button. So what I'll do, I'll go back to ABAP objects patterns again. We'll say our reference variable here is now LR underscore toolbar. The class is going to be CL GUI toolbar, and the method is going to be add underscore button. So now we have everything we need. I'm just going to go ahead and just do the bare minimum here, guys. Don't want any of that. I'm not even going to use these exceptions, which I encourage you to use, because it's always better to handle them than just to have your program catastrophically crash. So now let's say our F code, which is our function code. So we're going to actually handle this function code. Let's give it something. I'll say, let's do preview. Our icon, we'll leave that blank for now. I'll show you what. Okay, I can't remember what this is. So we'll leave our icon blank for now, and we'll set our text preview. The button type we need to get, so we'll go to this add button definition. We see our button type is TB underscore B type. This is button types defined in CNTB. So now we can go to CNTB. I thought it was a way to get to it. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll go ahead and open up a new session in SC11. We'll do type group CNTB. So now we can see our button types. So we have CNTB B type button. That's what we're going to use here. I'll just copy that, get out of this new session. So this is how we set the button type, whether it's a checkbox, an actual button, any of that. And now we need to do an icon. So now, as I've showed you guys before in a lot of videos, and you're probably sick of me saying this, go to transaction SA38 and run report show icon. We can say how we want it sorted. So now I just pick an icon from the list. I'll say icon preview, which I thought was an icon. Just do preview, icon layout control. Let's do print. So I guess this trial system doesn't have all the icons that I'm used to. Let's just say icon. Let's do display. So let's do, wow, it doesn't even have icon display. Maybe because I'm not all the way at the top. Let's go all the way to the top. Let's try preview one more time. Nope, nothing there. Display. So now I get icon underscore display. Click that. What we're looking for here, we need to double click on it. We're looking for this very cryptic internal name. That's what this class is going to use. So that's @10@ for icon display. Close this session. So now in our icon here, we can paste in this @10@. I always like to add a comment so I remember what icon I've used. So now we should be good to go. I can run our program again, and we'll see that on our toolbar we don't have, well, we do actually. We have it right here. Preview. Clicking on it does absolutely nothing. If we go to where we're handling our codes here, we say when others, message, save underscore OK, type I. So now we'll see what this actual function code is when we're clicking on this. And there are parameters where you can make this appear to the right of these standard ALV options. I'm just going to choose to do it right here. So we get this really weird cryptic function code, %_GC422_1. So that's not what we want to do. We don't want to code for that because it makes absolutely no sense. What we want to code for, let me just find where I've added it. What we want to code for is this function code. So in order to do that, we need to create a local class which is going to act as an event handler. So what I'll do, I'll just say class LCL handler, if I can spell, definition, public section, in class, and then create a class implementation as well. I don't know what the method's going to be called yet. We'll go back to it. And then in class implementation. So what we need to do is we need to figure out what sort of events this class can raise. So if I go to our actual CL GUI ALV tree. So yeah, I'll go ahead and save the source code. We're going to go to class builder and we're going to look at the events that it can raise. So I can see here the events that it can raise. There's actually a lot more than I remember. Let's see what it's called. It's something very generic. So we can do, you see here, we can do right click, all this stuff, and do custom context menus. But button click is going to be, I think, what I'm going to use. Just checking right quick, guys, to make sure that I don't have anything here. I think it's button click. So what I want to do is I want to look at the parameters for button click. See, field name, node key. No, this isn't the one I want to use. It might be, let's see here. CL GUI ALV tree. To go to the right spot, go to methods. There's something slightly more generic. Let me look for it here, and I will let you guys know. Okay, I remember this now, guys. Bear with me. The event's not necessarily on the ALV tree, it's on the toolbar. So what we need to do is look at the toolbar events here. That we've created the toolbar, double click on our CL GUI toolbar, go to events, and now we can see function selected. This is the event that we want to handle if a push button or a menu item is selected, and this includes custom push buttons. So we have a parameter, F code, associated type, UI underscore func. So now we need in our class that we created a method, let's just call it method on function selected for event on function methods on function selected for event function selected of, and then we'll say CL GUI underscore toolbar, and it imports a parameter importing F code, which we just saw in class builder. So now we can implement this method on function selected, and then in here I'm just going to say message. Let's go ahead and just give a message F code type I. So it's just going to give a dialog box to the user with the function code of the button that they've clicked. So one more thing we need to do down here, we actually need to set this. Let's go data. Let's say event handler type ref2 local class. Did I just call it handler? Yes, I did. I called it just LCL handler. We need to create our object event underscore handler, and now say set handler event underscore handler. This is the method that we just created on function selected for, and then CL underscore GUI underscore toolbar. Check our code. We don't need to set it for the class. We need to set it for the instance. So we'll say LR underscore toolbar. So now it's going to set this method that we defined and implemented on function selected for any events of our CL GUI toolbar class instance. Double click here and take a look at what we said. We say just message with the function code. So now let's check it, activate it, run it once again. We see our preview. If we click on it, we get preview. So this makes a lot more sense than that cryptic % underscore whatever it was that we saw earlier. So this is how we handle an event. So maybe, we have a user selects this node here and they want to preview details about it. They click on preview, and then in our event handler class we could say something like G underscore ALV underscore tree, and then get selected nodes, and then, or selected item, and then process it from there. So in a future video, I'll show you guys how to actually use field symbols to get the selected item into a work area, into a structure, so that you can actually read what's already been selected. I'll show you how to, get selected multiple nodes and read a list, and then perform, update operations on either the ALV tree itself or on, whatever that list item in the ALV represents, and then how to remove the node if somebody, deletes a node. But this is the basic implementation here for how to handle a custom toolbar button. Again, we can have this button here, assign it a function code, and then call some custom code, whatever we need. We can actually say that this button should go after these. I think there's a parameter to add button. Let's see. Icon is disabled, button type text quick info. Maybe not. Tell you what, it seems like when I did this, and I'm working in a trial system here, but it seems like in another system that I'm used to working in, the default behavior was instead for this button to end up over here. Okay, so here we go. After create a hierarchy and front end update, then after all that, if we add the button, it's going to show up to the right of the built-in ALV functions. So we can do that. We can come down here, copy this code, and add another button should we so choose. Let's go ahead and just show that real quick. So let's just say delete. For the purpose of this video, we leave the icon the same, so we don't have to go look up another icon. So now we've just added two buttons. Go ahead and activate it. So we see preview, delete. We would, in theory, change this. So now if we click on delete, we get delete. If we click on preview, we get preview. So that's how to add a custom button. And you guys are probably saying, well, this is way too small. This ALV. If you're not familiar with module pool programming, you'll be saying that. But it's not a full screen ALV. It's in a custom container. If we want to change that, we could easily go into screens here, go back to our actual layout, and then move our custom container or any of that. So I'll actually say maintain an original language, just because this was created in German. No big deal there. We're just copying a SAP program. So display change. So now I should be able to. Was I already in? Yes, I was already in change mode. So now if I come down here, I can drag this to about as big as it'll let me. Drag this to about as big as it'll let me. And activate it. Get out of here. Activate our screen. Oh, it exceeds the editing area of the DIN Pro. It's just an information though. Let's see if it'll still let me run it. So now we see it does exceed the editing area down here. It's too big, but we could change this. So now we have a full-size looking ALV tree. We're able to come in here and expand and collapse nodes as we need to. We could actually write a method to handle the double click here, but say for example we want a user to select this, then click preview, then we can read the selected node. So that is how to add a custom toolbar button to the CL GUI ALV tree control. If you guys have any questions, please leave me a comment, shoot me an email. My email is usually somewhere in the description or somewhere on the channel. This video and the previous one that I made before it was specifically because of user requests, so I do listen to what you guys say and I do make videos based on that. So thank you so much for your suggestions and your likes, your subscribes, and I hope you guys enjoy it. We'll see you in the next video. Thank you.